Let's go, folks. Welcome to Just a podcast. I think I'll talk today about story. It's a story you tell yourself. See where we go with this. So anytime something comes up in my life, I just notice, okay, that's interesting. So I had a situation the other day, and I noticed I could see myself telling a story, and this story kind of had shame attached to it, and it had unworthiness. So I want to talk about today, what's the story you tell yourself? And the thing is, people will always it'll be like, yeah, but it's true, you know? So maybe it is, maybe it's not. But all I'm saying is, if the story is not great, then my question would be, poke holes in it. You know, don't, but there's a thing with Byron Katie, and she says, do you know this belief that's hurting you to, essentially, do you know this belief that's hurting you to be true? Do you absolutely know it's to be true? And if you look at that honestly, you barely absolutely know anything. And so if you know something's hurting you, if you know something's making you feel bad, then at least why not question the belief? You know, people get so fixed on beliefs. This is what I notice on social media. People are so fixed on having a copyright on the truth. And this is the way they divide people. And especially if they feel strongly about the topic. Religion is one in particular, because part of the teaching is the stronger you believe, the more faith you have, more good a person you are, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's like that on other topics. Obviously politics as well. People have very, very strong beliefs. But the stronger the belief, the more fixed and the less open. Anyway, so basically, I don't want to get into politics or religion anyway. But what I want to talk about is like have this podcast today, but looking at what are the beliefs that you are holding that are hurting you. So let's do a meditation on this. And just thinking about where to go at the moment. Yeah, let's do a meditation on this. Let's go for a tree view. No tree view, okay. Okay, so what's the belief in your life that you notice? So breathe in. What's the belief in your life that you notice is causing you pain? How does it make your body feel? How do you see this playing out in your life? Now, if this belief weren't true, just say it wasn't true, how do you think you'd feel? How would your body feel? And breathe in and ask your body, how would you feel if this belief wasn't true? And do you notice how your body feels better? Do you notice how your body feels more peace? And do you notice how even the concept, even the feel of maybe this is not true, feels different? Isn't that a funny thing? So do I absolutely know this belief to be true? So just breathe in and ask that. Do I absolutely know this belief to be true? What would be the opposite of this belief that hurts? So just imagine that. How would that look in my life? How would I feel if the opposite was true? Is there any evidence in my life somewhere that maybe the opposite is true? So if I just scan my life at the moment, can I pick out some evidence that the opposite of this belief that hurts is true? Do you notice that? You can. And so when you start to do this exercise, you start to realize this fixed belief thing is very questionable. Is it fixed, or is it just a perception? And so if you think about what would be the belief, if beliefs are malleable, what would be the belief that you could cultivate? In other words, if the belief would create truth or would create reality, what would be the belief that you could cultivate? How would you feel? So breathe in, how would your body feel? Now, if you ask that question genuinely, you breathe in, you ask, you get a response from your body. So as soon as I did that, I felt excited. So it shows you that this is a fluid thing. The mind has a fixed thing, but it's actually a fluid thing. It's a perception thing. So today, write down the belief or the reality that you'd like, and then see how you can cultivate that, with the thoughts. So in other words, what this is in the beginning is just like, you have something. So let's say you have a fixed belief you can't lose weight or something, whatever. Throughout the day, start to cultivate thoughts of, just the idea of, well, maybe I could lose weight with this, or maybe that could happen, or maybe I could have a relationship with this. Like, start to cultivate the ideas. You don't have to believe the ideas, but you're just cultivating and speculating on the possibility. Because if you're just speculating, it's not forcing you to believe it. But by entertaining it, it starts to become real. So pick something, a direction you'd like to move in, and start to think about a belief attached to that. So let's say, another one is, let's say relationships. Let's say relationships always work out for me. So let's say you have a concept relationships don't. And so you start to think, okay, what are the times that it did work out? Where's the evidence of that? And then each day, just bring in this idea. Maybe relationships do work out for me. And you don't have to believe it. You just ponder it. Just like, maybe it does. Maybe it is possible. And just have to start to speculate with the idea. Because if you're just speculating, you're not trying to insist on something. You're just letting it float into the universe. So try this exercise. And so this is an exercise around creating a new belief. Like letting go of the negative one and being open to a new one. At least just being open to it. You don't want to force it. Because if you force it, it'll just, you'll fight back. So it's just like, poking holes in the one that's not serving you, and then cultivating possibilities of the new one with evidence, and then noticing how in your body the new one feels, and then each day looking for evidence that's actually coming true. So think about the new belief now. So breathing in, how would that feel if that was true? Breathing in, where in your life, even if momentarily you've noticed it to be true, just in that moment. And then as you notice that, how does your body feel? And then just say the thoughts around that belief a few times and just notice how it feels in your body. And then as you're doing this, you're just breathing, just staying with a quiet breath, steady. And pondering the idea if this could be true. And anytime you feel resistance, just back it off. Just keep it in terms of maybe. And as long as you're feeling better as you're thinking it, it's going to be an enjoyable exercise. So just ponder that, or try that, and notice if the outside world shifts at all. and have a good day.